The doctor refused. He refused to answer my questions yes or no during his pretrial question and answer session known as a deposition. Over and over and over again, I would ask him simple yes or no questions, and every single time, you know what he did? He tried to give me explanations. You want to know how I dealt with it and how I put him in his place so he wouldn't be such a pain in the butt? Come join me on this walk through the neighborhood as I share with you exactly what I did to make sure this doctor realized what he was doing wasn't helping him at all. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. Okay, this is a medical malpractice case. I was questioning a doctor at his pretrial question and answer session known as a deposition. There's no judge there and there's no jury there. It gives the attorneys an opportunity to learn from the doctor exactly what he did and why. Now, you should know, in the conference room, the attorney's conference room, there were 4 defense lawyers, one representing the doctor, and there were 3 other attorneys representing other doctors and hospitals who were involved in the case. And then there was me. And there was a court stenographer there to record all of my questions and all of the doctor's answers. So now, during the course of my questioning, I have a certain agenda. I need to know certain information about what the doctor did and why he did it. I need to try and get the doctor to voluntarily admit that what he did violated the basic standards of medical care. And there are different ways and different strategies in which to do that. Okay, so now as I begin questioning the doctor, I ask him very specific leading questions that call only for yes or no. And almost immediately the doctor began not to answer my questions yes or no. Instead, what he did was he went ahead and started explaining. He started explaining every single answer. And I had to cut him off, not just once, but almost every single answer. Now, why would he do that? He did that because his attorney had prepared him before the deposition, knowing full well that I would be asking short, leading questions that called only for yes or no answers. The attorney had to have told him, listen, every chance you get, try and explain, because the attorney is going to hold you to a yes or no answer. Don't let him lock you in to just yes or no. Go ahead and try and explain. So now, at one point during the deposition, I asked the doctor to look at his office record. Doctor, I want you to look at this office record. On this particular visit, did the patient complain of the following problem? And now, instead of telling me yes or no, you know what he did? He said, well, typically what I do in this instance when I meet the patient for the first time, and now he goes to give this long-winded explanation. And I stop him in the middle of his explanation. I say, doctor, let me stop you a moment. Did I ask you to tell me what you do on the first visit? And he looks up at me kind of confused, and he said, no, but I wanted to explain to you. I said, doctor, if I want to know exactly what you do on the very first visit, I will ask you, okay? So now he shook his head yes. I said, fine, so let's get back to my question. My question was, is there anything in your office record to indicate that you asked this patient about the following thing? And there's total silence. As he's trying to scour each and every line of his office record to find something to answer me, yes, there is, here it is, I knew the answer because there was nothing in there to confirm that he had recorded that information, which tells me he never asked the patient about it, and the patient never responded to that information. Okay? So clearly there was something missing here, and he didn't want to acknowledge it. That's one of the key reasons why he wanted to explain away everything. Doctor, looking at your specific note regarding this particular patient on this particular visit, is there anything in your note to reflect that you asked them about X, Y, and Z? And again, he starts explaining. What I typically do is I ask the patient the following questions, and I have to stop him again. I said, doctor, did I ask you about what you typically do? And his attorney chimes in and says, let him explain his custom and practice. And I said to both of them, excuse me, I didn't ask him about his custom and practice. I don't want to know about his custom and practice. I recognize that this is now 4 years down the road, and the doctor doesn't remember what he did on this particular office visit, so he's relying on the information in his office record. So please don't tell me about his custom and practice. I want to know exactly what's in his office record and what's not in his record. So let's get back to my question. Doctor, is there anything in your office record to reflect that you asked this patient about X, Y, and Z? Finally, he tells me no, of course, because I know what's in his record. I have a copy of it. Okay, so now I keep going, and this happens over and over and over again. The doctor's not getting it through his head. He still has in his mind that he has to try and explain away everything. Did you ask the patient about this? Well, I don't record everything. Doctor, there must be over 100 things on this particular note that you did record, right? Okay, so now I'm asking you about certain things that don't appear to be on your record. Let's find out what they are and whether or not you asked the patient. And can we agree, doctor, that if you had asked the patient about these things, that you would have made a note indicating that you asked the patient about those things? Yes, that's true. Terrific. Now, is there anything in the record to indicate that you asked the patient about A, B, and C? Well, no, there isn't. Is there anything to indicate that the patient replied he had a problem with B, C, and E? No, there isn't. Again, over and over again. This was fascinating. So why do I share this quick information with you? I share it with you just to give you a sense of what really happens in these medical malpractice cases in New York, where nobody tells you what goes on behind the scenes, especially involving a doctor's pretrial question and answer session known as a deposition. I recognize you're likely watching this video because you wanted to join me on this walk through the neighborhood. Now, I realize you likely have questions about your own matter. Well, if your matter did happen here in New York and you have not yet started a lawsuit, but are thinking of doing so, and still have questions that need to be answered, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I answer questions like yours every single day, and I'd love to talk to you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.